Which one is the better stock to buy? Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing stock or International Business Machine stock, IBM stock? Which one of those two is the better stock to buy? I'm going to answer that question in this video. In fact, this doing the research for this video, I was a little surprised and impressed by the statistics, the financial metrics that I saw. So you're not going to want to miss out on this. I think you're going to want to stick around. So let's get started. Starting with annual revenue growth comparing TSM with IBM, you see here TSM has a considerable advantage. Every year going back the last decade, TSM is outperforming IBM in terms of revenue growth and by a wide margin. Most recently, it experienced a 34% year over year growth in revenue compared with just 5% for IBM. So the next thing I wanted to look at is cash flow from operations to sales over the trailing 12 months. And again, looking at this metric, you see TSM strongly outperforming IBM here. You see TSM most recently at 71%. That's among the highest in all of the companies that I follow. This is why I was so impressed when doing the research for this video. You see IBM here, not too shabby with 17.24% cash flow from operations to sales, but when you compare it to 71%, it makes it look really small. In each year over the last 5 years, TSM again holding an advantage over IBM. So far, the first two metrics we looked at, TSM is considerably ahead of IBM. The next metric I looked at was the operating profit margin over the trailing 12 months. And I'm going to go back 10 years on this metric all the way to 2013. And looking at this, you see again TSM outperforming IBM, and that outperformance is widening as TSM is really showing its effectiveness in manufacturing and really getting efficiencies of scale going as it has ramped up and reached a really high level of scale here. And IBM has been going in the opposite direction, going downward in terms of its operating profit margin, while the trend for TSM is moving upward and ending at 47% trailing 12-month operating profit margin, a really strong operating profit margin. If you want to put that number into context, some of the highest operating margin of any of the companies I follow is with Visa, and Visa is around 68, 66% in terms of operating profit margin, and that's the highest of any of the companies. That's near the highest of any of the companies that I follow. So TSM is really up there among the best in terms of operating profit margin. IBM at 13.47% is about average among all of the companies that I follow. 13.47% is not bad. It's in the double digits. It's positive, which is more than you can say for a lot of companies. However, it is troubling to see the trend moving downward. Over the longer term, more recently, IBM has been moving upward in terms of operating profit margin, but the longer term trend is downward. All right, so finally, I wanted to compare these two stocks on their valuation. And to do that, I chose to use the forward price to earnings ratio and comparing these two stocks on the forward PE ratio, they're similarly valued. Look here, TSM is at a forward PE of 13.2, while IBM is at a forward PE of 12.8, very closely valued. However, if you look at the three metrics that we compared these two stocks on, three of some of the most important financial metrics you can compare any two companies on, and TSM was significantly outperforming IBM. So you have a company that's significantly outperforming the other one, and then when you look at the valuation, you're getting it at a similar value in terms of price to earnings. And so when you're making a decision, which one is the best one to buy? I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now. I would go with TSM. I would go with TSM because I'm getting better performance at a similar value. Now I know what you're going to say. TSM is exposed to, um, geopolitical risk, being that it is an international company, so much dependent on its operations in China and Taiwan, of course. And so, yes, there is that increased risk for TSM. So I would say TSM stock is meaningfully more risky than IBM stock. However, I believe the outperformance is significant enough to give it room to still be a better buy, even though it has the higher risk. So, even accounting for that elevated geopolitical risk, I believe TSM is a better stock to buy compared to IBM. All right, so that's all I've got for this video. As always, thank you so much for watching. I've selected some videos that are popping up on your screen right now that I think you'll enjoy. So please click on one of those and I'll see you over there.